The phone lights the ceiling at 3:04 in the morning. You're awake before the second buzz. You always are now. You lie there in the dark and watch the glow move across the ceiling. And you don't reach for it yet, because you already know two things. You know whose name is on the screen, and you know that nobody in your family has ever called you at 3 in the morning to tell you something good. But that isn't the part that scares you. The part that scares you is that when you finally roll over and see your brother's name, your first feeling isn't fear for him. It isn't, is he hurt? Is he alive? What happened? Your first feeling is a number. Your brain has already opened the account, already checked the balance, already started calculating what you can survive giving away before the phone even stops ringing. Somewhere along the way, you stopped being his brother and started being his bank. And your own body figured that out before you did. But first, let's see how you got here. It starts with $400. You're 26. You've got the first job that pays properly, the one where the number in the app goes up instead of sideways. Your mother calls. The car needs a transmission, and she can't get to work without the car, and she's not asking. She's just telling you, in that careful voice people use when they're asking without asking. And you send $400, and you feel good. God, you feel good. You feel like an adult. You feel like every year of school and every extra shift finally turned into something you could hold in your hands and hand to somebody who raised you. She cries a little on the phone. She says, "You're the one who made it." Remember that sentence. It sounds like love. It's going to cost you the next 15 years of your life. Because here's what actually happened in that phone call, and nobody tells you this while it's happening. You didn't give a gift. You published a rate. You informed a system, quietly and permanently, that there is now a place in the family where money comes from, and the place has a name, and the name is yours. Nothing happens for 8 months. Then your uncle calls. He's never called you before in your life. He needs $600 for a deposit on a work van, and he'll have it back to you in 2 months. And he says it exactly like a business arrangement, man to man, and you appreciate that. You send it. 2 months pass, then 4. You don't ask because asking makes it a debt, and it wasn't a debt, it was a favor. And asking would turn you into the kind of person who counts. That's the first rule of this life you're now living, and you learn it without ever being taught. You are the only person in this family who is not allowed to keep a ledger. Everyone else can remember exactly what they need. Only you are supposed to forget what you gave. The requests find their shape after that. They arrive in a pattern you'll be able to recognize with your eyes closed by the time you're 35. There's the pre-call. Someone rings just to chat, asks how work is, asks if you're busy, and you can hear them measuring you. Then there's the real call, 2 days later. There's the never around number. Nobody asks for 1,000. They ask for 920. Because a number with detail sounds like it's been calculated. And a number that's been calculated sounds like it can't be argued with. There's the audience. Requests at family dinners, in the kitchen, with 3 cousins in earshot. Because it is one thing to say no to a person, and another thing entirely to say no to a person in a room. And there's the phrase. Always the phrase, in some version. You're the one who made it. 6 words that sound like pride and function like an invoice. By 30, you're carrying it in your body. You feel your chest tighten when a certain name appears on the screen. You start answering calls with the tone people use on customer service lines. You develop a habit you don't notice for years. When a family member calls, you walk to another room first, away from your own partner, because you don't want them to hear the number or hear you say yes to it. That's the first thing this costs you. And it is not money. It's honesty inside your own house. Then comes the year everything stacks. Your father's surgery. Not optional, not negotiable. The kind of bill that has a comma in it and a date attached. Nobody even calls you for this one. That's the detail that guts you. Nobody asks, because asking implies the possibility of no, and no is not a possibility that exists in the family's model of you anymore. You find out at a dinner where your mother mentions the date, and then mentions the amount, and then looks at you, and the entire table looks at you. And you say, "Of course," into the silence, because there's no other sentence available. You pay it. It's $11,000. It is most of the down payment you'd been building for 6 years, the one your partner has a spreadsheet for, the one with a folder of photos of houses in it. You go home and you tell your partner, and there's a silence in the kitchen that lasts about 9 seconds, and that you will remember for the rest of your life. Not a fight, worse than a fight. Just a long quiet where you both understand something at the same moment. That the two of you are not building one life, you're funding several, and only one of them has your name on it. Here's the mechanism, and it's worth stopping on, because it's the whole reason this happens to so many people, and almost none of them see it coming. Money moving through a family isn't wrong. Families have always pooled. The thing that turns it lethal is that in a healthy pool, the flow reverses sometimes. Money goes out, money comes back, and everybody has been on both ends. What you've got isn't a pool, it's a drain. Flow goes one direction, always, forever. And after enough years, the direction stops being a fact and becomes an identity. You are no longer a person who sometimes helps. You are a function. And nobody feels guilty for using a function, which is why, at some point, you notice the thing that hurts more than any of the money. Somewhere in there, the calls stopped having any other content. Nobody asks about your work. Nobody asks if you're tired. Your birthday gets a text. Your crisis, the bad month you had 2 years ago when you couldn't get out of bed, was noticed by exactly one person in a family of 19. That's the real threat. It was never the money you could have earned back. What actually happened is that generosity, repeated long enough without reciprocity, quietly converted you from a member of the family into a resource belonging to the family. And you cannot feel love from people who are relating to you as infrastructure. And here's the part you won't want to look at. You built it too. You liked it. Not the paying. The position, being the one who could fix it, being the one who made it. Every time you covered something, you got a hit of being important in a family where you were never the favorite. And you have been buying that feeling in installments for 15 years. Nobody trapped you here. You paid your way in, one transfer at a time, and told yourself it was duty. Then comes the night that's the last one. It's your cousin, and of everyone, she is the one who never asked. Not once, not for anything. She's 22, and she works, and she's the only person at those dinners who ever asked what your job actually involves. And she calls, embarrassed, half apologizing before she even finishes the sentence. And it's $800 for a course that would move her into something real. And you don't have it. Not really. Not without pulling from a place you swore you'd stop pulling from. You have about 5 seconds to decide, and the cruelty of it is complete. The one person who earned it is the one asking after the well is dry, because the well was drained by everyone who never earned anything. That's what the drain does in the end. It doesn't just take your money. It takes your ability to be generous at the exact moment generosity would have meant something. You send her the 800. Of course you do. And then, at 3:04 in the morning, 3 weeks later, your brother calls. You pick up. He's fine. Nobody's hurt. He needs $3,000 by Friday. And he's talking fast. And somewhere in it, he says it. The 6 words. You're the one who made it. And you're sitting on the edge of your bed in the dark with your feet on a cold floor. And you say no. Not angry. You don't have a speech. You just say, I can't do this one. And then you do the hardest thing in this entire 15-year story, which is that you don't explain. You don't justify. You let the silence sit there, and you don't fill it. He hangs up. Within 9 days, you have learned what the family thinks of you, delivered through 3 separate relatives who each just wanted to check in. You've changed. You've forgotten where you came from. Not one of them mentions the 11,000 or the 400 or the van or any of it, because none of that was ever in a ledger. Only your no is in the ledger. Your no goes in permanently. That's the trade. Nobody tells you about the trade before you make it. You don't get to stop being the family bank and stay the family's favorite. You get to keep the money or keep the story about yourself, and you can't have both. And the day you choose is the day you find out that some of the love was attached to the function and will leave with it. Some of it, though, not all. Your cousin texts you that same week, about nothing, just to talk. The phone will light the ceiling again. Next month, next year, some other 3 in the morning. You'll still feel your chest go tight. You'll still do the math before you feel anything else, because 15 years wired that into you, and one no doesn't unwire it. You'll just answer as a person this time, instead of an account. They never called you the one who made it because they were proud of you. They called you that because it was the cheapest way to hand you the bill.